Good morning. Welcome to the live stream. Today is, what day is it today? Thursday, May 14th. My name is Angela, and on this channel, we just do vanilla. We just practice, we build stuff, and we try to have a little bit of fun. I don't want to waste, I tend to spend too much time talking, I think, in the beginning, so let's just get right to it. We are working on this right here. It's called Colorado. It's a set of Photoshop mockups that I have from a decade ago, my freelancing days. And we just take these designs, which I didn't even pull the designs up. Let me grab those. We just take these designs, and every 4 days a week is how often I stream. We just go ahead and build these things out. There we are. Okay. I'm a little off track. I should have gotten these things ready first. I'm trying to work and talk. Okay. And so I stream 4 days a week, and we just build these things out. I grab a new set of mockups. We build a landing page. We build a website. We are on the tail end of this project. It's called Colorado. I do have it linked down in the description if you want to take a look at it. Most of these things I just deploy to a GitHub page, and then usually the last thing I do as we wrap a series is that I will actually spend a stream doing deployment. We'll get this onto a real URL. We're still on the tail end of the actual build though, and on Tuesday this past week, we did a fetch and render, because if you spend any time here, you know that the thing that I struggle with the most are my JavaScript skills. So I got a little assist from ChatGPT, and I came up with some data, just a local JSON file. We pulled this in with a fetch, and then we rendered that to make a dynamic blog. We have some more work to do here. For the most part, this looks really, really good. We need to format our date. We're going to get to that. We have 10 items. I was also going to do a load more. We will also get to that. What I am going to dive into first thing here this morning, though, is the sidebar. So let's take a look at what that would actually look like. So here's our sidebar, and we actually have, excuse me, a really good opportunity here to dynamically generate these categories with a category count. I would like to use reduce and the accumulator because I recently learned how to do that. I think that would just be a great way to do it. We could also do a latest projects, like we could get the last 3 projects and dynamically get those. I'm not going to get a Twitter feed. I don't care about Twitter or X, but we can put this in a static data and people can do whatever they want. We can put in a little accordion. That's no problem. And then we have a widget paragraph. So what I really want to do today is get started working on this sidebar. Let's see how far we get. This feels doable to me. I don't know, famous last words. I think for latest projects, what we would really be doing is getting the thumbnail and just making them linkable. We're not showing any like a title or anything to go with it though, are we? Let's sort of reimagine how this should look. I don't think latest projects should just be 3 linkable thumbnails. That's not accessible. We could hide the title in like a screen reader friendly way, but I feel like the sighted people also should be able to see what the 3 latest projects are. So maybe let's arrange this horizontally instead of vertically and just include a title and then link, have a pseudo link to an inner page. We're not really building inner pages. Yeah, so there's that. And I'll be honest, I really want to wrap this up. I don't want to spend a ton more time on this. So I'm actually thinking about once we finish this blog, and I think really the last thing we need to do is organize. I mean, I don't even think I'm going to do anything for this about page. I got to tell you, I'm kind of done. I'm kind of over this one. I want to move on. This has helped me rethink this has helped me rethink the types of builds I want to do during the live stream. Some of these are just getting way too long, like way too long. I don't want to build an about page with a bunch of content. I have no interest in that. We made a template, we styled a bunch of kitchen sink content. I don't really want to make an inner blog page. I don't really want to make a inner portfolio page. We styled a portfolio page. We did sort of some pseudo pagination. It's not hooked up to anything. It's there in the UI. If somebody wants to come along and take it and work on it, they certainly can. We also spent a full day working on the contact form and doing form validation. I'm ready to move on. So I think I've decided that when we finish this sidebar, we finish formatting our date and we do the load more, we're done. We're going to go ahead and deploy this and we're going to move on to the next project. I did post something on my channel that I got a lot of responses to. Hopefully everybody realizes that this was an AI image. I think people know that. This little adorable dog represents my dog, Heidi. I'm starting to really rethink my attitude about AI and vibe coding. I've been completely against it in the past. I've just been like not open to it, not even against it, just simply not open to it, not even listening to the conversations around it. And I'm starting to rethink that. And part of it is because I've just been avoiding so many AI conversations on dev YouTube because it just gives me anxiety to even think about it. I don't like the thought of being replaced. I don't want AI to take over for me. And I've been comfortably saying up until this point that I didn't believe it ever would take over for humans, that I thought it was a tool, that I thought developers that maybe weren't that engaged in their jobs, kind of sitting in the corner completing tasks, they'd be the one to be replaced. And now that I'm watching more AI content and I'm hearing what other developers are talking about, and I'm also getting comments from developers who were very engaged. They loved their jobs. They felt like they were really solving problems and adding value to their organizations. They're being cut for AI. And I just think it's so sad. So I'm starting to pay a little more attention now to these conversations. And it's only taken me a few days to sort of rethink my position on a few things. The first thing that I've been rethinking, obviously, is vibe coding. So I thought, okay, I actually genuinely do have an idea for a mobile app. One moment, please. Hold, please. My apologies. I have allergies, and my Costco Claritin has not kicked in yet today. Okay, I just want to quickly like talk about this before we get to the real meat and potatoes. So I've been rethinking vibe coding, and I was like, okay, I actually genuinely have like a couple ideas for mobile apps that I've never followed through on because I had honestly no real desire to really learn mobile app infrastructure, what that even took. I don't want to learn that. I don't care. And I thought, okay, well, what if I vibe coded an app and I was still responsible for the front end, the art direction, the designs, the HTML, the CSS, the accessibility, and I vibe coded the back end or whatever a back end looks like. Actually, I wouldn't even need a back end for both of the apps, the app ideas that I have. So I started to think like, actually, maybe this doesn't, maybe vibe coding isn't that you completely turn over all of the work to AI, but you use AI to build out the parts that I don't really want to deal with and I don't have time to deal with, but that I would genuinely probably still learn a lot from doing, right? And I could still do all of the front end work that I love to do. So I posted this question and I got some people said, please don't do this. But most people were like, yeah, you should do this. So here I am going to do this. I have a couple of ideas. I have to narrow down exactly what it is that I want to do. And I think I'm going to do this, but we're still going to write all the front end code ourselves. We're still going to make sure that it is accessible, but we're going to vibe code the back end or whatever infrastructure is required. We're going to do test flight. I'm going to sign up for, I think it's like an Apple developer account, which costs money. You have to pay for that. It's like $99 a year. And I'm going to do it. Let's do it together. Let's see how it goes. I think that if I'm going to continue to talk about AI and about the people who are willing to use it as a tool the way I sort of envision that people are going to need to be using it, I have to have the experience. And I don't think that vibe coding means that you 100% turn everything over to AI. That's insane. I would never do that. I don't need to do that. Of course, I can still do the front end and have AI help me with the parts that I don't know how to do. And I, like I said, would probably genuinely learn something. So I just want to try it. Not turning into a mobile app development channel at all. This is still very much a front end channel, but let's try it. Let's just see how it goes. So that's my big idea. So stay tuned, right? Okay, one more thing that I want to talk about before we get started is Osloy. Osloy's in the chat. Osloy sent me an email letting me know that he also has a YouTube channel. I know Osloy's real name. I don't think it's a secret. Is it okay for me to call you by your name, or do you want me to call you Osloy? Let me know. Let me show you. I said I would give his channel a shout out. Here we go. Osloy is I can tell when people in the chat are experienced developers. Caffeine Cowboy, Osloy, whose real name is Daniel. I can tell. I can't name everybody right off the top of my head, but I can tell when people in the chat are developers and have a lot of development experience. Osloy is one of those people. I could tell right away that this is somebody who knew what he was talking about. He's got a channel. He has 500 subscribers. Now he has 501. I just subscribed. He has made a lot of content about development. Go check him out. Give him a sub. He's told me in his email yesterday that watching my streams inspired him to start making content again, and I think that's really cool. So I love having you, Osloy. You are obviously an awesome addition to the chat. And yeah, we love having you. So go check him out. Yeah, I watched a couple of the videos yesterday. I thought it was really fun. So, and Go Elmo just went ahead and put it in the chat for us. So thank you, Malik. Appreciate you. Oh, also, good morning, Malik. Thank you. Malik says, welcome all. He was the first one in the chat. Monique Robinson is also here. She's a mod in the chat. Monique and Malik Robinson, just a coincidence. They are not related. It is just a funny coincidence. So, okay. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? And spoiler alert, I have a little library called the 30 Days of Vanilla JavaScript. This is what we worked on during the month of April 2026. And the reason I'm pulling this up is because there was something here. Pagination and load more. We worked on this. So I've got some things here for pagination that I am going to be referring to. It's been a couple of weeks. It's been about 3 weeks since I did this. I don't remember it. So I am going to refer to this once we get to the pagination. I also have my notes on the accumulator, which I've been practicing a lot lately. It's very complex, but I've had quite a bit of practice, so we'll see how it goes. Let's quickly sketch out our scaffolding for the sidebar. So here we're on our blog page, and here's our aside. Oh, this is actually the footer. Okay, here we go. Here's our aside. Here's the sidebar. So these are actually going to be H3s. And I'm going to give this a class of tertiary heading. And we'll say categories. And then we probably want, whoops, man. We probably want this to be an unordered list. So we'll say UL, LI, and I'm just going to put in web design. I'm not going to put all of these in because I'm just trying to get some basic styles in here before we run over to our JavaScript. And then this can have a class of, what are these? This is the category count. Okay. Yeah, we definitely need a couple of styles. And I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on the styles because I want to get over to the JavaScript as soon as possible. We'll come back and do a little styling afterwards. Okay, here's the blog layout. So here is, do we actually have styles? Oh, we do. Look at that. Perfect. I think that's a little bigger, but it's fine. I love it. We're not changing anything. That's our styles. Let me get this over off to the side. Perfect. I might take this down. This is 4 rems. Let's just take that down to 3, which is right here. So we get a little more breathing room. Yeah. Yeah, we have a little more room there. Okay, perfect. And then I'm good with the headings. What did we call this? This is the category count. Honestly, we should probably make this a little more generic, right? Because we're going to use the same styles as the footer. In fact, what did we use for the footer? Should we just be reusing that? List nav. How specific is that? List nav, UL, footer UL. Footer LI. Wow. I couldn't have made that. I don't know if it's like really generic or really overly specific. I can't decide. Okay. I'm going to call this, although, does it need to be inside a nav element? Technically, it's navigation if it's a category count and it's linkable. which I feel like it should be linkable. But I don't really have a, do I have a slug, do I have a slug in my API? We could make one. What's this? Do I have to map that though, or can I do that in the accumulator? Or am I just counting? I was just going to count, but isn't the point of this that you click on one and you go to all those articles? Am I overthinking this? I need a slug, but I think I could just do that in the accumulator. I can just add a slug. Is everything in the accumulator? Am I, hang on. I mean, you don't have to count everything. You kind of do. Why would I map that? Do I have to map it just for that one thing? Okay, well, let's just get our styles shipshape. Okay, I am going to put this in a nav element because I think technically this would be navigation. Nav. What were we calling it? List nav. Sometimes I'm just like, just stop thinking. Just stop thinking. We're going to adjust our styles for list nav. We have these styles already in the footer. I'm going to rewrite these styles and we can update the footer. I think we should. That seems efficient to me. So do we have list stuff already though? Yes. All right, let's put it here. List nav. So that's the nav element. So we actually want the list nav UL. Padding 0, margin 0, list style type is none, and then list nav li. Whatever I did in the footer is what I want to do here. I added, margin to the top and bottom. The anchor elements are text transform uppercase with letter spacing. So just margin on the li and text transform on that. Okay. List nav, anchor element, text transform, uppercase, letter spacing, 1 pixel. Oh, I didn't, my markup doesn't support that. Got it. And then I think we put these in spans. Nice. And then in the span, we'll just call it the count, and we'll change the color back to medium gray. List nav, span. It doesn't even need a class, so we can take that out. Bar, medium gray. Oh, I didn't put it in. Got it. Okay, that's perfect. So the entire thing is linkable, but we do have a little contrast for our color. Perfect. So we're going to count these categories and put them right over there. All right. Let's save one so we remember what to do. And well, should we create, yeah, we should probably create the UL, right? And we can just add items here, render items here. Yeah. Okay. So we have to change a couple things around here because we brought our data right into the init blog render. I was thinking, when I was thinking about this earlier, oh, I should just make another, like a sidebar.js. And then I thought, well, then I'm going to be, then on the page where I have a blog and I have a sidebar, we're going to be fetching blogs.json twice, which I don't think we want to do. And since our function to render the blog articles has a guard statement, it's completely fine to have functions on the page that you're not using because the page just won't do the thing if they don't exist. So if there's inner blog pages, it won't matter. We're also going to be rendering a list of archive pages in the footer. So that's going to be on every page, which means blog.js needs to be on every page, right? So this is my strategy. This is what I'm going to do. Another note, I did this after the stream on Tuesday, because the origin on GitHub is just this. It's just github.io. I need the origin to include the tail end here, right? The name of the repo, the project. So I had to do this in order to, first of all, fetch the correct URL for blogs.json, but also get the correct path for the images. So moving forward, if I'm doing any fetch and render on anything that gets pushed to a GitHub page, I'm going to have to do this first. This just takes into account the URL structure on GitHub. And then for local development or even just deployment, once we get to that point, this will take care of itself. So this works really well. Osler says you could start the HTML with a single list item that says loading. I mean, yeah, we could do that if I don't like to do like loading or like those type of loading things unless there's actually a noticeable lag, in my opinion, unless I see something where it noticeably has time and needs to say loading. I prefer not to do that. But yeah, you could absolutely do that. I wait to do those things when I feel like the page tells me it needs it. Does that make sense? Yeah, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. If we need it, we can absolutely do that though. Okay, so we don't need our style.css anymore. I'm just going to stick you over there. Okay. So we need to move some of these things around. So let's do this first. So async, just going to call this, no, that's not what I said. Function. Then I need this. And then this is going to take in data. So this is going to take in data. And then let's make sure that I did this right. I think I did, but let's make sure. Okay, I think I did it right. If it was wrong, we wouldn't see this, right? Beautiful. Beautiful. This might be easy for some people, but for me, visualizing the flow of how these things work together, this has taken me a minute to get, like, wrap my head around. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so now we need a new function, and I'm going to call it init sidebar. Also, we'll take in data, and then just going to console log data. Sidebar. I just want to make sure. And then down here, I think we would say const transformed sidebar is equal to init sidebar data. Although, do I need to do that because I'm not taking this and putting it in someplace else? So I think this is all I need to do, right? Yes. Sidebar spelled wrong. It would not be me if I didn't spell everything wrong. Okay. It's such a treat to get this part right. It's a treat. Okay. Wow. So let's do this. So const, I'm going to say transformed, what do we call it? No, I'm just going to say categories. Categories is equal to data reduce, and we want the accumulator and the item. And of course, we're going to return the accumulator. So we know that our data has a category. So I'm going to say if that category, the accumulator item category. So if there's no category, then, oh, and we need to initialize, right? So we're going to initialize, I think, an object. We're going to initialize an object, and then it should return an array of objects, right? So if the item accumulator category does not already exist, we'll do the accumulator item category is equal to the object. Hang on, I'm thinking about this. we're counting. I'm going to look at my notes. I know that that's cheating. I can't help it. It's just the accumulator item category. Yeah, it's equal to 0. That's what we initialize, right? Why does it look weird? Oh, because I did too many. Hang on. We don't need this. There, because we already initialized it as an object. And then we count accumulator, item, category. I think we can just do plus plus, right? So now I'm going to console log. It's been like a week since I've done reduce and I've already forgotten how to do it. That's how much I need to practice. Categories. Put it in brackets, and then we have to return categories. Oops, categories is not defined. Hang on. I did it outside. Okay, so here's our new categories. There we go. There's our categories. So now we can render those. Those are like completely ready to go. That's wild. Okay. So I think we can do, can I just do the whole thing here? Or do I have to? I can just do the whole thing here. Do I have to do a whole new function? Am I being messy if I do that? Can I do categories for each? Or do I have to do a whole new function? Item. So do I have to return this last? Categories for each is not a function. I think I do have to do a whole new function. Still learning the flow. Okay. We're going to do function init render categories. And that's going to take in data. So we'll stick that there for now. So this is going to be data. Now we have a new function down here. I'm going to say const transformed categories is equal to, it's really equal to this, right? And then we have render categories, and we need this transform data. or transform categories, right? Data for each is not a function. Oh, is it because, hang on, it's because we just have one big object. We have to push that into, so we need an array. That's why we need an array. So we don't want to return, yeah, I need an array. So I need to push these items into an array, which I can totally do. So it's going to be accumulator item category equals, I'm going to look at my notes because I did this too. So I need that to be an array in order to for each through those things. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Yeah, so I do need this to be, I do need to put this, so I think I can just say, what do I want it to be? What do I want it to say? I just want it to be an array of objects. Can't I just do this? So these would be the objects, and then I would push right into that. So here's the count. I also need to push them. Well, let's check and see what. There we go. That's our array. But it's still, hang on, I'm getting confused by this syntax. Whoops. There, that's perfect. That's our array, right? So why can we not see these? So console log data. Okay, so why can I not see these items? Is this an array? I don't think this is an array. It looks like an array, but these are not objects. That's the problem. Okay, I have to push those into. Don't tell me. I'm looking at my notes from my past exercises. But shouldn't I be returning if we're initializing an object, don't you automatically return an array? That's what I don't. Let me go back to I need to push the object into an array. Okay, so I'm looking at some of my notes. I'll show you what I'm looking at. I've practiced reduce so many times. So I think I have to push the count. So I think we want to do this. Grouping categories. And then you push the category item, but I want to push the count, not the name. So this would be an array of strings. I need to push an array of objects. See, this is where my overthinking just gets me sometimes. Yeah. We're returning. Or can't I just turn it into an array? Object entries. Hello. I think we need object entries. I think I am overthinking this. So I think we want object entries, right? Object entries data. So this gives us back an object with key value pairs, and then we have to use object entries to convert it. Thank you. I knew it would come to me eventually. So here's each of our items. Got it. Okay. Boy, practice, man. Practice. It's been a week since I've worked on it. Okay, so here's each of our items. That was a fun little exercise. This is how you learn. You have to just like struggle through and remember and look at your notes. This is exactly how you learn. So, okay, so now we want to render each of these items onto our sidebar. So let's go ahead and we probably want to make sure that we are defining a root. Yeah. So we'll call this nav list. Actually, no, we're going to call this the root. And then if there's no root, we can return. I love figuring it out. I love figuring it out. This makes me so happy. Okay. I don't think we need that. We don't need this. I'll leave this here because it might be fun. There. Object entries. You need object entries because you're almost always returning an object with all your counted stuff, right? And you have to turn that into an array. So, okay. Next, let's get our UL, which is document create element, and it's going to be an unordered list. And we don't have a class for that. We don't need a class for that. And then inside our for each, we are going to create an li. Whoops. Document create element li. And then our li, we also need a link. So we'll give it a link. Document create element. So we probably could have done all of this here. I just needed to turn it into object entries in order to do the next part, but I guess this is tidy, right? So that's an anchor element. And then that doesn't have a class either. And then we also need our span. So our span, document, create element, span. Those three things. Okay, so the link, yeah, what is our, so we need, do we need a slug? Do we need to create a slug? We can. That's going to change this though, isn't it? Is it cheating if we just do it during the for each? I don't think so. Because this, we would just maybe say the slug is whatever the name is, 2 lowercase, replace the spaces with dashes. Is there anything wrong with that? So the link href is going to be the item. Well, it's the first item, right? So it's this. Two lowercase, replace all, and we're going to replace the spaces with dashes. And then the link text content would be also this first item, right? It's the first thing. Okay, I'm going to say we can move this over here. So the link is the first item. It's this. Oh, and I don't even think we'll leave 2 lowercase in, obviously. I'll leave in replace all because a future workflow could suggest that there would be a comment. We could even just go in and change the JSON. Let's do that. Let's do UI design. So now we have UI design. And then let's console log link. Can we see that? We're geniuses. We are geniuses, people. Look at that. I love it. We are geniuses. JavaScript, I think the universe is made out of JavaScript. Okay, and then the span is the count. So we'll do span text content is equal to the, it's really the second item, right? And then we would do link, append, or excuse me, list item, append the link. I think first I would want to do link, append the span, list item, append the link, and then UL, append the list item. I don't know, this looks right to me. I feel good about this. See, we didn't need to do a whole separate slug, right? Ingenuity, people, ingenuity. Okay. Why aren't you rendering? Shouldn't you be showing up here? Oh, we probably have to append to the root. So we would say root, append the UL. There it is. Okay. So let's make sure this right here needs to be in parentheses. So we'll do this and this and this. And I think we need to make sure there's a space there. Oh, whoops. Oh. Hang on. Brackets, $sign. Here we go. We are geniuses. We are geniuses. God, I love JavaScript. Why did I wait so long? This is so freaking fun. We're having fun? I'm having so much fun. Okay, so now we're going to do another one. Let's do another accumulator for the footer. So we can make these. So now it's going to be the date, right? Yeah. So let's do another one. Function. Are we doing too many functions? In your opinion, what do you think? I'm just functioning up the whole thing. Init footer archive. And this would also take in data, right? And we're going to do another accumulator pattern, and we're going to try really, really hard not to overthink things this time. I know, Osloy, right? Fun. So much freaking fun. I think now that we correctly remember that we need object entries to convert our object into an array, I don't think we need two things here. I think we can just do, so here's the sidebar, here's rendering the categories. Let's just do one. Let's just do one. I think we can put the init footer archive in one function because there's just not that much stuff. And give me one moment. Hold, please. I'm so glad we're doing this. I'm just so glad we're doing this. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and do another accumulator pattern, but this time we need the date. Well, first of all, how do we format a date? That was on my to-do list. So it looks like it's going to be to-doed today. So we'll say const, this is archive. We'll just call it the archive. And it's data reduce accumulator item. All right. And we know that we're going to return the accumulator. And we are initializing an object, and that is just fine because we're going to turn the object into an array with object entries when we're done. So if there is no, well, first of all, I think we need, we can convert the date last, right? Do we have to do the date now? It would look nicer probably if we did. So can we do this? Const date equals, is it just new date item published? Does that work? Is that gonna work? And then I can just use date. Okay, we're gonna give it a shot. So we're looking for, but I have to turn it into a month. Let's see how this goes. But how do I know? Okay, I think we need to get this date thing sorted out first. So let's practice a little bit. Let's just practice. I'm going to comment this out. I'm going to come down here and we're going to have to we're just going to do a little for each. I don't know how else to like test to see if I'm doing it right. So I'm going to do this. It's just an experiment. Console log the item, the date. So what does that give me? Nice. Okay. So I need the month. That's what I need. So isn't it just date get month? Yeah, it's just date get month. Oh, wrong thing. Here, can't I do this here? New date, full year, get month. This is a number. Get date, get day, get full year. Do I have to do two? Hang on. Do I have to do? I was looking at this. What about this? Maybe we get the date and then we do to locale string, which is turning out to be kind of a powerful thing. I did this in yesterday's video. Weekday long, year numeric, month long. I think that I take date, yeah, and then to locale string. Let's try it. So we would do month long, which I think is the full. So let's do date to locale string. And the locale is, it's US, it's English, US, comma. And then it takes a maximum of 2 values. So I think we just say month long. So let's say const month. Month. Sweet. I think that worked. So there's 3 Mays and 7 Aprils, and we have 10 items. So that means that we would have 2 items here. Should we mix it up a little bit? Let's look at our JSON here. So here's May. Who posts that many blogs in 2 months? Come on. We'll do 4, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. April 2025. We'll just do December. Keep it tidy. And we'll do October. And we'll do another October 2025. Change her up. There we go. Look at that. Okay, so we have a nice little formula now for our dates. So do we want to do that in the for each? I feel like that's I mean, if we're going to go to the trouble of doing an accumulator, wouldn't we want to, wouldn't we want that to be the thing that we're accumulating through? Well, we wouldn't do a for each. Oh, hang on. This is in the wrong spot. Oh, what is happening? All I want is... What's going on? Give me this. Put that there. So I think, because we are looping through things, this is all I need. Don't worry about that. There we go. Now we're formatted. Okay. So now we have our month. So I think the accumulator pattern now is going to be month. We're looking for the month. So if there's no month, then it's just month equals 0. Go ahead and create it, month equals 0. And then I'm pretty sure it's just accumulator month plus plus. What do we think? I have high hopes. Console log. make sure we can see that. Archive. And then let's make sure that we are returning archive. Oh, and I think we have to make sure that this is initialized. Okay. Type error assignment to constant variable. What don't you like? Yeah, you don't like that. Oh, hang on. We are geniuses. We are geniuses, people. We are geniuses. Okay, what's next? So now we take object entries. I don't think we have to start a new function. So just object entries archive. Oh, it's going to turn that into the array that we need. Item. And then let's just console log and make sure that we're getting the correct item. Console log is our friend. See, does the return always have to be after? I get so confused sometimes about the return. Yeah. So there we go. Here's our items now. That's cool. I can work with that. Yeah, I guess it has to be the last thing. Love this. Love this right here. Look at this. Magic. It's absolute magic. Okay, so now we can for each through our things and render. So we're going to really do like the exact same thing, which kind of makes me feel like this could function like more of a helper, right? So maybe instead of init render categories, it's just init render list. Like, why would we write this twice? Right? Yeah. So I'm gonna move this up. So it was a good idea to put all these in separate functions. So here's our init sidebar. Here's our init footer archive. So we could just call this archive. It's the same set of links, doesn't matter where it goes, right? And then here's our init render list. Oh, except that how does it know which one to stick itself to? Well, we would just put in that's a good point. So we need to make sure that it's looking for the right thing, right? Okay, let me think about this. So we're getting the data, but we're also getting like the location, right? So the location is what? Because we're using list nav. So I think we just need to make sure that we have unique classes. So maybe it would be like list nav. So I think this would be up here. We would say list nav categories, because I don't think we want it to be location specific, but maybe type specific. So categories. So that's a list nav categories. And then the footer, and we're going to have to change this on every page. This would be list nav archive. And we can take this out. Yeah, that's the list nav archive. And then this is the, where are we here? List nav categories. Yes. So this would be maybe not location, but more like type. So we need the type. So then this would be type. And then our parameter would be, we would initialize this twice based on the type of list it is. So we could say list type. I just want to make sure I don't forget what these things mean. So list type. List type. And then we initialize this twice. Yeah. So we've got init sidebar, init archive. It's getting complicated. So there's the archive. And then I think I renamed this render list. Let's copy this. And I'm just going to call this categories. And then this would be categories. And then this would be, what, nav. It's either nav list categories or nav list archive. Right? And then we would have const archive is equal to this. And then we would do this again. This is the archive. And that's the archive. Right? This makes total sense to me. Whoops. Until it doesn't. Okay, we're pretty close here. And it's so this totally worked, first of all. Yay. We lost our styling here. So we just have to like normalize our styling. But you guys, this totally worked. We are geniuses. We are geniuses. This is so cool. We lost our styling because you know what might be a better strategy? Instead of doing one category, we could just have them be like sibling categories. That is probably a better approach. Right here. So then this would just be like that. So now it's like location selector based, but we're not going to lose our styles. Boom. Right there. Big brain. Big brain. Look at this is dynamic now. This is so cool. I do think that this margin's a little juicy. So we're going to work on our styles though. But for now, we're good. We're completely good. And I understand this flow. I think of all the things that really make me happy right now about this is that this flow makes sense to me. And I'm really starting to like wrap my head around what do we call these? Variables, attributes, what do you call them? Like the data, right? We have one render that does all of the work for these lists. We don't have, so we didn't duplicate our efforts there. We're just pulling in a selector. I love it. And we have two really neat and tidy accumulator patterns. So cool. So, so cool. Okay. So what else do we have here to work on today? We got time. We got plenty of time. Do we have the emotional energy for load more? Well, first of all, let's format our date. Let's do that first. So let's find our render list. This is the render list. Let's format our date here first. We know how to do that now, right? We didn't transform any data before we just output it. So there's not like a separate transform step. So we can use this easy peasy for our date. So it's not going to be this exactly. It's going to be here. Thereabouts. So I feel like this said we could do up to 2. No, you can do more than 2. Where did I see that you could use up to 2? So this I want to save. How can we save this? Copy text, share. Google Docs. If I shared this, where would I be sharing it? Public link. Okay, creating a public link. So I'm sorry, do I have a link here someplace? No. Where's my public link? Do I get a public link? Creating a public link. Are you going to tell me what the public link is after you create it? Copy text. What happened? Couldn't copy text. Couldn't copy text. Okay, how about a couple of screenshots? How about that? I want to save this information. And I find that it is sometimes hard to come back and find the exact same information. So, okay. So we're going to do, what are our options here? Oh, date style probably, right? Date style. Let's just see what these look like. So I'm going to say, so can we simplify this a little bit and say let date, 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 and then we'll just say date style, right? Date style. Oh, probably we want to say date style, not date, right? And then the text content would be the date style. Not quite there yet. Probably because of that. There we go. Boy, that's really slick, huh? Look at that, formatted date. Beautiful. All right. Oh, now we need to make sure that the date time is also formatted. So we are going to do this again. So we're going to say, actually going to take this and move it up here. And we'll say let date time we'll say let date time style. Well, we can probably take should I be trying to reuse this? I'm not going to worry about it. New date, item. I feel like I should be, though. Okay. Efficiency. Let me think this through for a second. This, I think we should be reusing. So maybe we want to do const date style. Date style format. And then we want to do another one that is const date time format is equal to date style and it's English, US, and I don't think there's a preset. We need it to be year, so we need year numeric, month 2-digit, day 2-digit. That's what we need. So we need year, month, we need the full year. So we're going to say year, numeric, month, 2-digit, and day 2-digit. 2-digit, day 2-digit. And then this. And this is the attribute for the time element. So let's see if that worked. So this is mostly for accessibility and search engine optimization. So here's our date. Okay, we're pretty close. This is slashes, but we need dashes. So do we replace those, or can we set those ourselves? And it also needs to be, it's backwards. It needs to be 2026 05 08. Component formatting presets. When used on a date object, options allow you to control which parts of the date and time are displayed and how they look. Well, you're not giving me that much control. Component formatting, other configurations. But maybe this isn't the right way to do it, because if it's formatting based on a location or a locale, it's doing it strictly based on the United States. So probably the better way to deal with this is with new date. So probably we just want to take the date style, new date, and build it ourselves, right? Yeah, I think that's the... Osloy is saying ISO string. Okay. MDN ISO string. Okay. The to ISO string method of date instances returns a string representing this date, this day in the date time string format. Okay. A simplified format based on, okay. Well, we already have that though. It's all, actually the JSON is already an ISO string. So really, we just need to split everything off after the T. So, hang on. I'm just going to Google it. I'm just going to Google it. JavaScript ISO date. Why am I always losing focus? JavaScript ISO date. Split after the T. To split the ISO date string after the T, you can just use the split method. Here are the best ways to do this. Using split T, best for separating date and time. This splits the string into an array, creating a date part and a time part. Part 0, part 1. Using slice, best for getting only the date. That's what I want. ISO date slice 0 to 10. Parsing to a JavaScript date object for manipulation. Date object, new date, to locale string. Yeah, that's not what I want. Okay, so we're just going to use slice 0 to 10. So 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got it. That is the best way to do it. So we're not going to use this. So it's going to be separate. So I'm just going to say datetime format is equal to, it's already in an ISO format. So item published, is it split slice 0 to 10. And we should get everything right before it, right? Let's see what I do. Slice, not splice. There we go. There's our date time now with the ISO format. Beautiful. So now we know the difference between when you use location or the to locale string, it is specific for formatting based on how we look at things in the US. And I did specifically, when I created the JSON, say use this format. I didn't specifically know it was called that, but I said to do that. So, cool. Okay, so what's the last thing that we're going to do now? So now, and yes, Osloy says, you might say spill the tea. Cute. Very cute. We're learning so much. This is why we do these exercises. We build these things, we practice. It's for this exact thing. It's just to practice getting comfortable with these different situations, these different scenarios, and I'm here for it. So clearly we're not going to be finishing the sidebar today. That's completely fine. We're going to keep working on the sidebar this weekend, but look at everything else that we got done today. This is amazing. We got a ton of stuff done. So I think the final thing that I want to do is the load more. So this is a little more JavaScript. So I think we need to get our load more button in. I'm going to copy and paste this in. So this is just a little button container with the load more. So let's go find. So here's our blog right here. And we are appending our articles right in this section. And I think that that's fine. These can live independently of each other. So here's our button. We should see our button now at the bottom of the screen. Where are you, button? Oh, kind of screwed up our So we are going to need to, we're appending everything to this blog section. So we're going to have to create another div, or we're going to break our layout. So there's our button, and that's fine. It's honestly not the end of the world. So here's a div with the class of our blog section. Now we shouldn't be breaking our layout. But where's our button? We obviously kind of broke our layout. Here's our blog section. Where's our button? Oh, there it is. We just have to style it. And I don't think this needs to be inside of a container. So the color of all of our buttons is white. So let's just quickly make sure that load more button. We can actually see it. We have to be able to see it, right? So here's our buttons. Where do we style? Button solid. Okay, actually, let's just give it the correct class. So button solid. There's our load more button. We'll come back and center this. I just need to make sure we can see the stinking button. And then obviously this. Okay, so we'll fix the padding. We screwed up a little bit of the layout, but honestly, it's fine. Okay, what else do we need to do? So we have our button, we have our container. We are going to first, we need a function that says count and slice data. So we're taking in our data. Cool, we got that. And then we have to define a page. So let's do let page and let items for page per page. We'll do that first. So we're going to do that. I think we can do that here. So we'll say let page. And then we've got the items per page, and that's going to equal 3. We're going to do 3 at a time. Oh, and we have to do let page equals 0. Okay. And then we need a function to count and slice the data that takes in data and page. Count and slice data page. Okay, cool. The start is the page times the items per page. The end is the start plus the items per page. So let start equal page times items per page. Let end equal start plus items per page. Visible is going to be equal to the data slice start end. Let visible be equal to the data slice start end. And then we are going to return visible. That's the part I always forget. So count and slice right here. So where do we put this now? We put it right here, and this is now what we for each through. Right here. So const visible is equal to this. And then visible is what we for each through to render. Then we have to load more. We have to be able to load more. So let's get our button. Load more is equal to, and we're still inside blog section, so that's still, no, we're not inside blog section. So we'll just, it's just document query all load more button. Not the end of the world. Query selector, load more button. And then we need an event listener for that, don't we? So here's our load more items event listener. If page is less than the total number of pages minus 1, page plus plus, render the UI. So this is going to move down to our init function. And then load is the load more button. And then we want to, we're going to do a true false because we want to make sure that that button, if everything's loaded, goes away. I don't remember doing any of this. It was 3 weeks ago. I don't remember doing any of it. Not a single one. Okay. I mean, I literally remember the day that we did this, but I don't actually remember doing any of this. So there's that. Okay, so the render part, we're good. We're done. We're done. So now we need to make sure that we get this event listener in. So really I think we put this in the wrong place because the button needs to be down. So we should only be seeing 3 things on our page right now, right? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Good, we got that part. So now we are going to come down here, and this is what is going to be now it's the load more button, and we just need to count. And we want to make sure that it's disabled. Load more, disabled, equals false. So that's going to be the default, right? And then we want to make sure that we have an event listener for that button. Load more, add event listener, click. I don't think there's going to be any event delegation. If the page is less than total pages minus 1. Where's total pages? Did we miss something? Okay, yeah, we do. We need to get the total number of pages. And total pages just sort of represents the total chunks in this case, right? So the total pages is the math ceiling. It's the data length, which is the number of items in the array, divided by the items per page, which we set to 3. So total pages, we'll do this here, const total pages is equal to the math ceiling, and it's the data length divided by the items per page, right? Items per page. So we have 10 items. We have 3 items per page. So if we console log this, it should be 4. Total pages 4. Got it. Okay. So now the event listener is if page is less than total pages minus 1, then we want to render the UI with the sliced data. And we have to increase the page and render the UI. If the page is equal to the total pages minus 1, meaning there are no additional pages, then we have to change the if page is equal to total pages minus 1, then we are going to say load more disabled is equal to true. So we're just going to disable the button. Well, disable the button or hide the button? I'm going to actually say hidden, not disabled. Hidden. I don't want the button to be there. And then, of course, we need to make sure that we're rendering the UI on page load, not just on clicking the button. So we're going to do that there. What do we think? We're not, so it's working. Why aren't we hiding? You're not hidden. That's weird, right? Why isn't it hidden? It's got the attribute. Wait, what? Clearly, we're not responsive yet, so just ignore that. Pay no attention. Why is it still there if it's hidden? Hidden. Oh, is it seriously? Is it it's because I've overridden? Huh. Okay, so I have to it's because I gave the buttons a display. Well, do I need a display if the buttons by default are inline block? But I did that so I could give buttons, so I could give links, make them look like buttons. That's why I did that. Okay. So I just have to, we're just going to add an attribute then. Button, hidden, display none. There we go. So load more, load more, load more. Now you're hidden. Wild. Okay. I don't think you should have to do that. I think the browser should take care of that for us. But here we are. What do we think? This was super fun. Malik Robinson is telling me it's the 2-hour mark, keeping us all on track. Perfect timing. Absolutely perfect timing. We got everything that I wanted to get done today. We definitely have more styling to do on this. We're going to finish building out the sidebar. What else do we have going on here? We have a little more rendering to do. We'll go ahead and put in some accordions. We also have that in our little library. So tabs, no, FAQ accordion. So we have an accordion here. We'll go ahead and look at this. We can definitely go ahead, where are we here? We can definitely go ahead and render some latest projects. I don't think that will be terribly complicated. And then we'll bang out the rest of this sidebar. Yeah. So, and then we need to do our responsive style. So what really do we need to get done here? What do we need to finish doing? I think we need to finish the sidebar and go through some of our QA items. And I'm just ready to be done with this. I talked about maybe expanding the search and a bunch of stuff like that. I'm done. This is like the 19th stream on this, and it's a great site and it's a great project, and I'm super proud of everything that we've done here. I'm also ready to move on. So I don't think we need to prolong this at all. This just looks great. I could not be happier with this, with the JavaScript that we wrote over the last couple of days. Yes, I had to refer to my notes. I don't remember everything. Fumbled a little bit on the accumulator. Just got a little shaky start, but I think that that's okay. So pleased with the fact that this stuff makes sense now, that we were able to reuse our render list for 2 different sections on the site. Should we make sure, since we're on this blog page, that we're not getting any errors on other pages? Let's also, cannot set properties of null setting hidden. Okay, we probably have to put in, yeah. So I think we just need to make sure. Let's do this. If load more, just put this, right? There we go. I think we have a console log in here someplace that we don't need. Let's make sure on our home page we're still, this is not correct right here. So we should, oh, but we didn't update the, let's update the footer, right? You know what? I'll do that separately because we have to I have to delete those things. And I want to tidy up the CSS and I'll add the category. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off screen. And when we come back this weekend, that should be done. Let's remove this console log. I don't think we need that. Right here. Look at that. We formatted dates. We did 2 accumulator patterns. We have a nice little helper function here for rendering our lists. We did load more. We did more date formatting here. We learned about the difference between locale string and the ISO date. Yeah, this looks great. Good job. Everybody, have a great rest of your day wherever you are. Maybe I should do this. Do me a favor. Would you be so kind as to like the video if you haven't already? Subscribe if you're new here. I stream 4 days a week, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday at 10:30 a.m.-ish Central Standard Time. I've also been making a lot of extra content for the last 2 weeks. I've posted every single day. I'm having a blast. I just believe in the power of practice. I think practice is so important, even if you're an experienced developer, which I am, but I don't know everything. And I'm working very hard in 2026 to like step up my game with JavaScript. And it's only been a few weeks, couple of months, and I've already like my skills have dramatically improved. It is so much fun to like layer in this interactivity, right? This layer of JavaScript onto everything else that I was doing. I'm just having a blast. And I'm so glad that I'm here doing this with you guys because I just really enjoy it. And I hope you get something out of it too. I get really good feedback from people. So thank you to Osloy, who is in the chat today. SP123456789 was also here, gave me a thumbs up in the chat. Clash of Clans Legend was here. Malik Robinson and Monique Robinson were our mods in the chat. Everybody have a great rest of your day wherever you are, and I will see you this weekend on Saturday.